People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning in. I found a different place in my lunch break, slightly quieter. Smells of wee in that, really and truly. I'm trying to keep it moving, but tired of walking about in it. But first and foremost, let's speak about Ben Napier. Now, that name might not ring a bell to anybody. When I say Arsenal backroom, you might initially think to yourself, for example, Raul Sanye, Vinay, and all the other people in several positions. So Ben Napier won't ring a bell. But if you lot remember, or those of you that pre our website and things like that, you would know he's been at the club for a while now. Previously he was at Scunthorpe. I know he's coming from an analytical background. I think he studied something I assume sports science, but maybe analytics as well at university. I think he went to the University of Hull, his LinkedIn account said. But either way, he's coming from a data analytical background, and he's worked his way up to being a loan manager. At least last February, it was announced. So he's fairly fresh into the role. He's more or less just started the role, so we have to cut him some slack. But at the same time, Arsenal and loan spells. Now, if I had to have a pet peeve, it'd be loan spells. You see Chelsea players. Fair enough, Tammy didn't have the best of loan spells at Swansea. Maybe it came too early, but he's gone to the Championship and done quite well. Mason Mount under Lampard as well. Reece James at Wigan. From an Arsenal perspective, I haven't seen too many players go out on loan and return. Generally, I know obviously Bayliss had a promising spell at Charlton and the fans are going mad for him, and obviously Nelson had a decent spell at Hoffenheim, but I just feel Arsenal, when it comes to loan spell, that's one thing we kind of fall short when it comes to young players. For whatever reason, we've seen many promising players go on loan and it hasn't happened for them. Is it the right club? Is the manager, is the philosophy the best? Did the player push to go on loan necessarily? But it's never really a case of our players going somewhere and returning positively. We know they come back better players, but you don't get what I'm on about. So I was looking at him, I'm really looking at him as to what he does, because he's loan manager, so I assume he's got fine clubs together with obviously Mertesacker, and I assume everybody else that's involved with the youth, because he can't just farm everybody out anywhere with his say so. First and foremost, Mertesacker and him and the manager in bold, 23s and the 18s gaffer, they've got to see which players potentially are ready for loans. They've got to see their personalities. According to the personalities, then you find certain clubs or certain environments. Some players might benefit going abroad, some might here. So we'll see. Again, he's still early into the role, but now's the real time to kind of, I wouldn't say judge him on that, but I mean, he became that in February, so he hasn't really had a chance. But I look at the 3 players that have gone out on loan so far. Today I've heard that Ben Schaefer's gone out on loan to Doncaster on a 6-month loan period. Just by looking at them, forgive me if I'm wrong, but they finished 6th, so it's a positive loan spell. Like Christian Bielik, I'm sure, Christian Bielik and Charlton, I'm sure they want to get out of League One and gain promotion. They've got some decent players within their side, so keen to see what happens. If he impresses, then they'll probably look to extend his deal, so it's good for him. Hopefully he can stay injury free, because injuries have kind of stopped his progress of late. Last season he wanted to go out on loan and they stopped him, so it's nice to see. Daniel Ballard's obviously gone to Swindon. We'll see how that one goes. Osei Tutu's gone to Busham as well, and we all know he's hit the headlines. Well, not even him, but we all know a player allegedly calling him a black something. You don't want to hear about it. I'm not going to waste any more time on that sort of subject, because it's quite irrelevant, to be honest with you people. But so far so good from him, to be fair, and we're getting the loan spells done early. Unlike the senior business, I'm nice to see the loan spells are kind of being done early. Obviously you've got the Bayliss, you've got a couple other players that will go on loan and get late loans and stuff, but it's nice to see whether the players are pushing for it or Ben Napier is doing it himself. Of course it's a bit of everything, because some players need to go out on loan, but so far so good, man. I mean, 3 players in Ben Schaefer, who needs to kick on. Ballard needs to play against senior professionals, and also Tutu, the right back opportunity was up for grabs. He hasn't been given an opportunity here for whatever reason, and has had injuries himself. They've all gone out to decent clubs, and I expect them to return back better players first and foremost, man. I wish them all the best of luck first and foremost as well, man. I mean, the goal is to be professional footballers. Making it here, it's debatable if it ever happens, so it's just to advance your careers. I'm sure they all want to look back in the years from now knowing that they're better players, got appearances under their belt. Minutes are currency, essentially, in football. I know Ben Schaef's got a couple appearances here and there at Arsenal, but not really significant looking. He made some appearances for Stevenage. It's about building on that, getting closer to making 100 career senior appearances. That's when I believe I would personally call myself a professional footballer. Of course, you're a professional footballer when you sign a pro deal, but you get the point, people. So you've got him. I did also want to offer some other thoughts on a couple other things as well. It's quite irrelevant, but we're here, so we might as well speak about it. Now, Tom Bayliss, he plays for Coventry. As it's about youth, I thought I'd speak on him. He plays for Coventry, England under 19 international. I think he's a very good midfield player. Will have a career in the central midfield. I think he's very good technically. And I do think there's some gems in League One and League Two. And even if you don't feel there's gems, I think there's a handful of young players doing it the right way. Everybody's career is different. Some people have to be open to go into a team in League One, League Two, getting appearances under your belt, significant appearances, 30, 40 games one season, moving closer to 100. Let's just say you did that at 18, 19. By the time you're 20, you see what you've got under your belt, people. And then because of the grounding you've got, you're more likely to go and thrive somewhere else. It's completely different. But everybody knew Dele Alli was going to be a baller. Let's just say he was bought as an under-16 from MK Dons to any top 6 club, as is the case, yeah? Would he be the Dele Alli he necessarily is? Would he have this career he has right now? Would he have advanced as quickly as he did? Again, it's different, but he learned his craft at MK Dons. He got his appearances under his belt. He went to Spurs. He went actually back on loan from Spurs to MK Dons, but he hit the ground running. Being in that environment where you have to fight for 3 points and play against senior veterans and people fighting for mortgages, you can't underestimate it. I mean, it's completely different. But Guendouzi, relative novice in this football thing, played more times for Arsenal than he has for Lorient. But if he didn't get them appearances under Lorient, would he have hit the ground running as quick as possible? Of course, he's had good periods, he's had troubling moments, he's had bad moments and whatnot. But you get the point. So there are some individuals out there I think are doing the right thing. They're at a couple of teams and they will get I'm not saying you'll go from League One to Prem all the time, but you get 100 career appearances and you gradually come up the levels. And I think Bayliss is a decent player playing for Coventry. I think he's 20 years of age. He's got 60 odd career appearances under his belt at that age. Now that's a rarity for many English youngsters. Go and look at how many English 20, 21-year-old young players have made that many appearances that play for the top 6 or any Premier League clubs. There will be some that throw it up, but there's not too many. How many? Obviously he's older than Foden, but how many appearances has Foden made? And that's not a criticism, I'm just saying, because you look at some of the German players. Max Meyer, how old is he at Palace now? How many career appearances did he have at 20? That's what kind of holds our young players back. We know it's tough for top 6 and Premier League sides alike to give chances to young players and things like that, but you can never underestimate experience. Because for me, if you've got 100 appearances under your belt when you're 20 years of age or whatnot, you're laughing. Like I said, he's 20 and he's got 60 odd. He's moving close to 70. But what experience has that done for him? I mean, I said he's in England under 19 international. If you was to really look at him under the microscope against some of his peers that play for the bigger clubs and stuff, how much more ahead is he? Because he's playing at a higher level where you have to do things quicker and stuff. You look at, I think it's Rochdale's Ashhead. He's not all the way there yet, but he stayed at Rochdale for a bit and now he's gone to Norwich. Primarily, allegedly, he's going to be in their 23, so he needs to take his time, but gradual steps, do you get it? He might follow Maddison in that. Maddison, obviously, ironically, played for Coventry, went to Norwich, didn't play straight away. I'm sure he went on loan actually somewhere. And it happened for him. It's nice to see him linked with Tom Bayliss, I keep calling Tom Bayliss being linked with Premier League clubs, Sheffield United. I actually want Sheffield United to stay up, man. I mean, if they sign Ravel Morrison, former Gooner in Luke Freeman, they've got Che Adams, who, speaking of careers, I really like him, man. He's done the semi-pro, non-league sort of route. He's made a name for himself at Birmingham. And then who did he go to now? He went somewhere else. Did he go somewhere before Sheffield United? For some reason, I think Sheffield United. For some reason, I think it's Birmingham, somewhere else, and then Sheffield. Wait, no. It is Sheffield United. I'm bugging out. He went to Sheffield United and he's left and joined Southampton. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Either way, I need to really check that. Either way, Che Adams will be playing in the Premier League next season. Again, why am I... He has joined Southampton, right? It wasn't Sheffield. I want Sheffield United to stay up for Ravel Morrison and Luke Freeman and that. But, yeah, if he has joined Southampton, Che Adams, I'm really proud of him, man. He's left Sheffield United, ironically, if I'm not bugging out, and he is going to play for Southampton. He's gone from non-league all the way there. And again, he went really, I wouldn't say under the radar, but he clearly didn't get that whole 16-year-old in an academy thing. He had to bide his time, score his goals, make a name for himself at Birmingham, and he's made his way into Southampton. Sorry now, people. If he excels, the world's his oyster. But everybody's career is different. Some players should go to Germany and stuff like that. Some players shouldn't go out on loan. Some players should go out on loan. Some players are just simply not going to make. Everybody's development path is different. That's why you can't make blanket statements, really and truly. Staying on the Arsenal front quickly, and I've seen us linked with a young man that plays for Stevenage. People, I ain't watched him, but the one thing I saw, before we carry on, I owe him that to say his name, sorry. Luther James Walden. Now, I've never seen him. I assume Stevenage are going to make a decent profit if he does leave the League Two side and go to the Championship or League One or whatever. The first thing that struck me is that Arsenal scouts might legitimately be watching him, and so they should. We should be looking at everything from South America to League Two, because you never know where that player is. A lot of scouting is waste of time, but when you miss that one thing, you're gonna think why. So I applaud us looking in these places. But the first thing, when I saw links with Arsenal, I thought, how long has he got on his contract? And his contract runs out in 2020. Now, you lot know, you event a club's interested in you, you can get more money. I think from what I can read, he's had a decent season at Stevenage. Probably want to tie him down, make him a more important player on a better deal. So if he's contracted until 2020, a year to run, linked with Arsenal, this might put pressure on the people that dot the I's and cross the T's in regards to contracts. You can play on the right-hand side. You can play at left-back from what I read as well. Primarily a right-back. Again, I've never seen him, so forgive me for being wrong. But it would be a lot for someone that's only made not many appearances in League Two to go into the Premier League and step up and be a competitive option for Hector Bellerin at right back. Of course, weird things have happened in life, so it could happen, but it doesn't really fill me with joy that this is credible, really. And he's 21 years of age as well. Credit to him, because I think he was released from a club before and he's had to work his way back, so it shows never give up. It's nice to see scouts are watching. If scouts are legitimately watching him and they deem he's good enough, then why not? Of course, sign him. But I don't know enough to give an informed opinion. All I know is he's 21, capable of playing in a couple of roles, primarily on the right-hand side. He's played 41 times for Stevenage. So someone that's made 41 appearances in League One, stepping up to be, I assume if Bellerin isn't fit, you're going to be the first choice option. It is a lot. Things can happen. If scouts have really done their due diligence and they deem him worth it, then he's worth it, innit? But I don't really buy the credibility of that report or that rumour. But the fact that he's being linked with stuff means people are watching, man. This could be a League One move. He could move to the Championship or whatever. And obviously, as a professional footballer, at any level, you want to aspire to do better and whatnot. And he's no different, I assume. But on that note, people, I'm going to get out of it. I don't know how I've been in here for 12 minutes. Like, it really stinks of pee. I don't want to be disrespectful, but sadly, people that you know how it is in central London and whatnot, people. So I'm just going to keep it moving. On that note, people, DG.